Hey there, welcome back to my channel. This is my 12th process video and I'm using the Pretty Little Studios Wish You Were Here collection, and this are the pieces that I have left over. I had found this photo of my daughter in a llama when she went on a field trip when she was in kindergarten, and I didn't like the color of her blue shirt, so I had scanned it, which it scanned really dark, in black and white, and then magically everything is kind of put together here. But what I did is I did the packaging technique on the background. Now I used the marshmallow cardstock, so I didn't have to use any gesso, and it warped it just a little bit, but it really wasn't so bad. The colors I used were the Shimmerz products. I used a Creamies Hot Mama and a Creamies Lapis Dance, and I used a Vibes, which is a spray mustard seed, and I used all of the packaging technique for this. And some of the colors I didn't wait for it to dry, so then the blue and the yellow made a green, which was fine because there's some green in the collection there. And I was surprised that I still had 2 flares left in this because I absolutely love it. I love using them. So anyway, so let's go on to the layout. I had pulled out the pretty, no, not pretty, it's Pink Fresh Studio, and it's this copper letters, which are very pretty but are not sticky at all. So I needed to have the copper in other places besides the title because it was looking kind of weird by itself down at the bottom. So I had pulled some stars, which was kind of cool to have those elements in the alpha. So I'm going to use some stars there. So I want to make sure everything is lined up. Of course, I used my T-square and glue those down, and I use my ATG gun. And then for my foam, I'm going to actually use some, what is it called? The Scotch 3D tape. So, and I'm also going to do some stitching. So I want to make sure everything's in place, so I glue the banners down. And I only want the top of the banner because I want the tips to be elevated. So I go to my sewing machine and sew around everything up, and I pull the top thread through, and I put some washi tape. This is how I use up my washi tape. Very rarely do I put it on a page. And it was a fairly simple page to put together, and when you look at it, it's kind of washed out. And so I knew that I needed to do something, and I kind of wish I had a copper pen, but I don't. But I use my black micron pen, and I'll show you that here in a minute. I had lots and lots of threads to put in on the back. And I didn't even use white. I think it's a light blue on the top, and I think I have pink on the bottom. But you know what? You can't tell. So if you're out of white, don't fret. Just use a light color. It will come across as being white, unless you really do want white. I'm usually not that picky. And you can't tell. All I did is I want it stitched down. Okay, I kind of flipped up the banner a little bit, so now I'm going to cut this foam tape, and I cut it in little bitty squares and just put it, towards the bottom with my tweezers. And what's funny about these, when I cut them into little bitty squares, I know one had popped off and I couldn't find it, and I was looking for it, and I thought, well, moving on, and then I ended up finding it on my hand, and I didn't even know. And I don't even know if it's on camera, but I was like, oh my gosh. It's usually on the back of something, and it's on the floor, it's underneath something, I don't know, but it ended up being on my hand. Okay, so now to put this foam tape on the back of this photo, just to give it a little bit of height there. All right, there's the base of my page. Very bland, it needs something more. So, and this is all the stash that I have, and I didn't want to go into a bunch of other things. So I see all those little triangles that are left, and I thought, well, what could I do? So I chose to take 3 of them and put them at the bottom right, and it's like little, I don't know, little mountains. I don't know what they are, just a little color. And I thought maybe putting some up at the top there, but I really didn't like the way that looked. But the copper star went really well, so I like that. And then the flare, the reason why I chose it right there, I don't know if you could tell, but there was one little spot of the Shimmerz paint that ended up there all by its lonesome, and it looked kind of odd. So that's where the flare went. So I'm going to start trying to make the page a little bit more, I don't know, popping. And so first I went around the outside edge with some doodling. And I was liking the way this was looking. Okay, now I see some dimension there. And then let me go around. Even though I stitched around it, I wanted to go ahead and make that pop a bit. So I added the black there. Okay, let's go ahead and do the photos. Well, mine as well. And then this is what really makes the difference, is I outline each one of the banners, each one of the flags, and that really made a difference. Now, strangely enough, I didn't add any sequins to this photo, this page. Normally I do. In fact, I didn't even think about it until just now, which I may or may not go back and add some more. What you don't see me do on this at all is I do some journaling under the Llama about this field trip, and it was still missing something. So this is where I'm putting down the 3 little triangles there at the bottom. But I was still felt like it was missing something. So I took the blue alpha that came with the Wish You Were Here kit. It's a really pretty blue. And I put Petting Zoo on underneath, like where the llama is, and that piece that's on the left, and I put Field Trip at the top, and I put Fun under the llama, and that really is what made this, it made it cohesive, and I really like the way it looks. Now to put the flare down, I use they're like Zots, but I used 3 of them. I think I had some like medium size. So for each one of the flare, I had used 3. And I couldn't decide if I wanted to put that Let's Go one on the banner itself or down at the very bottom right, and I chose at the very bottom right. As you can see, and I have to glue those stars down. They are not going to stay, which I'll gladly do because I really do like them. You get kind of spoiled with the foam alpha. You just want everything to stick. All right, there it is. You see it completed. Thanks for joining me today. Give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and if you haven't already subscribed, I'd love to have you. All right, great. Have a great day. Bye-bye.